Welcome back. You're tuned into Inspired Afternoons with me, your host, Maria Mia. And now it's time we're talking money, but actually how to manage our finances for longevity and for a rainy day as we have experienced during COVID. And I can't think of somebody more qualified than Sister Naseera Turkey. Sister Naseera Turkey is the CEO and founder of Azuri Capital. She offers financial coaching and is passionate, motivated, and a determined entrepreneur who uses her knowledge and skills in financial coaching to empower and uplift many women and men to be financially savvy and find financial independence. She's also one of the directors and a fully fledged independent financial planner with 24 years experience in the financial industry at Legacy Employee Benefits. And Sister Naseera is a recipient and a nominee of numerous awards. The most recent was the Wow Visionary Awardee for 2019. She was also an international awardee and speaker in Dubai in 2019. She was nominated as a finalist for the Margaret Hirsch Woman in Business Achiever for 2019, as well as a speaker and international awardee in Mauritius. So we in good company, money-wise, with Sister Naseera. And when I called her and I wanted her advice, I told her, I need you to make for me. I need you to make money for myself and for all my listeners. And that's why I want you here, because really with COVID times, everybody is scratching and looking under the mattress or trying to see if there's some investment here or savings here or even a hustle, a deal, a hustle there, because it has been challenging times. So let's welcome Sister Naseera. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Inspired Afternoons.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much, Sister Mariam, for having me.
Absolute pleasure. So I think also challenging times for you as well as a financial advisor and coach, because people were looking for that excess cash, and also you had to do the balancing act in terms of being the keeper. I'm thinking the doorkeeper in not allowing people to go into reserves in other ways, or cashing into that, looking at it short term and cashing into your pension fund or retirement annuity or something that only matures maybe in 4 years' time, because then you would have lost the full benefit of this. So tell me, in COVID times, what were the main lessons coming out of it financially during these very, very difficult and challenging times?
I think one of the biggest lessons is that your situation can change with the blink of an eye. You know, that most of us have been put into this predicament, and it's a very, very big financial lesson in terms of, have I correctly planned for my future and for an emergency? Because that's where we are. It's an emergency. I mean, what we've gone through in the last 6 months, not one of us could have fathomed that this would happen. You know, we didn't have a golden ball, telling us, we're all going to be locked in our homes. We're not going to be able to see our loved ones, and our finances is going to take a complete U-turn, from whatever we planned. And I think the point that you made out is, have people been calling me, and, have I been the gatekeeper of their finances? And it's absolutely correct, because the choices that you make 5 or 6 years ago is actually what plays its part today. If you had emergency funds, you would have access to that money. If you had liquidity, you would be okay. You would be able to survive the last 6 months. But if you didn't, and you didn't plan, and you didn't have a plan for yourself for an emergency, then you were in a very, very bad space. And I think that's where a lot of people have been, where they've lost their job, their loved ones are now sitting at home without a job. And unfortunately, as South Africans and globally across, we all have been hit with the same scenario. So it's not like you're only in South Africa and this is a problem that we have. It's something that has affected every single person across the globe.
So, Naseera, now that we know, in the future something could happen, we don't even know how the world's going like this. So, where do we start for somebody who was, just budgeting month to month and making do in terms of our expenses? If I had a job and I correctly budgeted for all whatever my household expenses were. And the only saving I was really doing was probably saving for year-end holiday, and then also the compulsory pension saving that I have to do per company, my 8.5%, and my employee's contribution of 7.5% in terms like this. And that was it. Or maybe for some people, just the retirement annuity because of the tax benefit, but there was no real savings, I think, for ourselves. And also for me, another thing is when it comes to savings, we as females, we'll take out an education policy for our children to save for the future, or maybe upstart policy for when they get married, something for them to purchase a home or car, whatever it is. But we worry about ourselves last, especially as females, in terms of saving, because we says, ah, hubby's got his pension fund, so we'll be okay. His retirement annuity would kick in, and it's always, oh, he's got some saving investment. But I found that we as females, we're the last to save for ourselves, because for somehow we feel that we're saving for ourselves, we're being selfish, and our nature is to be selfless. Do you find that amongst your female clients?
Absolutely. Actually, it's a huge number. And I think that's where Zuri Capital was born, because it was about coaching women to actually find some financial worth, to put money away for themselves, not just for the children, not just for waiting on my husband's pension. I mean, if you look at the scenario that we're right now, if you were a 50-year-old man and all of a sudden you got retrenched, where's your pension? You're sitting with a bond, you're sitting with expenses, you're sitting with debt that you would have to pay. What would you realistically have for your retirement? Which wouldn't be much. But as a woman, if you had actually had your own savings for the last 15 or 20 years, you would have had a nice little, retirement funding for yourself. So I think, women, it's vitally, vitally important that you need to be selfish to be selfless for yourself. Whether you put away 100 Rand a month, and a lot of these women come into professional or housewives for that matter and say, you know what, I just can't make it. I think we are actually very good budget savers. So if you look at our household, we run our house in a tight budget. We know when the specials are, we know where to buy butter and ghee, when it's Ramadan. You can't say that we don't know where to save, but we save for the house, we save for our children. We like you mentioned, the wedding. We've got all of these other priorities in life, but we leave ourselves out of it. And I think that's one of my biggest passion, is to teach women to actually put money away for themselves. So whether it's an endowment policy, whether it's a little unit trust, whether it's a tax-free investment, whether it's a retirement plan over and above your company pension fund, because at the end of that tax year, you would get a little savings back from SARS that you could reinvest for yourself. And every year, if you got a refund, even of 5 or 6,000 rands, which you normally wouldn't save on your own, you could use that as a little incentive to start saving. If you put your holiday money away, like you mentioned, a lot of us put our money away so that December we've got a family holiday, put an extra 200 Rand towards that saving. And at the end of the year, take out that money. So you would have at least 2,400 or 5,000 Rands for that matter. And, call someone like myself to help you to start a plan. I think the key being is that you need to be committed to yourself. If you're not committed to having a plan for you, you can have a plan for your family, you can have a plan for the future, but have a plan for yourself. Have a plan, have access to liquid savings, so something that's over a short period of time, and then have something that you could have over medium to short term, and then your retirement is your long term, 15 to 20 years. And I mean, if there's, the young audience that are listening, don't waste your money unnecessarily buying expensive cars or, putting yourself in debt at a young age. Rather take that same money and save it, and you'd be surprised over that period of time how that money can compound and have a much bigger balance for you in 5 or 10 years' time.
Okay. I A thought came to my mind now, because I'm that lady who sees where the bar. So if you come to my house in terms of groceries and that, yes, there's always high end, good quality stuff there. But I'm that one that scouts our community newspaper. I listen on the radio for the specials, and I go special, and then I've got my shopping and I've got my list there. And also, what's nice is nowadays the major retailers, what you
Yes.
say is, oh, wow, you've saved X amount, you saved X amount. So I just got a thought there. So all those that females that do the house shopping, because I know there are many males that also now I've taken, especially at COVID, that go and do the house shopping now. So whatever you saved, if you saved at one retailer maybe 100 rand, in the other retailer you saved another 200, and then you got your clothing at a good discount because it was a 50% sale. And at the end of the month, you find that you've saved 1,000 rand. That's 1,000 rand that was already, you beat the budget, so to speak, and you've saved it. So contact them, take that money. So you're not even asking for additional money. Take the money that you have managed to save and contact a financial advisor, sort of Sister Naseera, and say, I've managed to save just on my grocery or living household expenses this month, and I've managed. So tell me something. If I then say, okay, this month I managed to save 1,000 rand for shopping, and next month maybe it's 1,200 rand, the next month it was 800 because they was there. Can we even give you? Does it have to be fixed amounts, or can you accommodate somebody in terms of flexible amounts to say, I'll give you this, or I'm going to give you a minimum of 1,000 every month to put away for myself, but some month I might have more. And will you be able to do this, or it has to be a fixed, set monthly amount?
I think what we do is we work around it. So you need to have at least a minimum of 2,000 rands to start off with. So if
Mhm.
someone's 1,000 rands, I would say wait 2 months or 3 months till you accumulate the 2,000 rands. Don't go and use that money. So open up a separate account that's attached, like a little pocket save, that
Mhm.
you put the money into the pocket save and you don't use it. You need to be very strict and committed to the savings for yourself. Once you reach that target amount, then I sit down with you and I say, okay, what are we going to do with this money? I start teaching you the rules of saving. So, what happens is that you end up having small goals. So you sit down with that amount and say, okay, we've done 2,000 rands. Can we get to 4,000 rands? The 4,000, can we get to 5,000 rands? And so forth. So what happens is that with that small little goal, I then teach you firstly discipline, because if you didn't use the money, you've learned discipline. You've not used it back into your house. You didn't go buy more ghee, because it wasn't special the following month. So you were disciplined enough to say that this money belongs to me. I think that's the first step. The second step would be is once you've invested it and once you see a statement or an investment value that's in your name, it becomes very, free spirit. You within yourself, you're like, oh wow, I've done this for me. So I think that's the next step. And like they say, the rest is history.
Okay, yes, because I like what you said in savings. I think you can't take the word discipline away from savings, because that's what it is. It's, you have to be disciplined and committed to save. Yes, I know, some people say, you know what, whatever is in your tagir, you're going to get, and whatever you're going to spend in, the Almighty will look after you for future. But the thing is, there's always that saying to tie your camel, and your savings is, I think in your language, is tying your camel. In your field, the savings, am I correct?
Exactly, 100%. I always tell, clients, investors, don't use that as an excuse that Allah says, you know what, He will provide for us. He's our provider. But He's also given us means that we work hard for our money. So we need to also take care of it. And one of the disciplines is tying your camel. By you tying your camel, you can then accumulate more camels. So that's the point of investments, is why tie one camel when you can tie 10 camels?
And at the end of for me now, I'm looking at something that's close to my heart, and I know close to your heart as well. Savings doesn't mean now you're taking all this money and you're not going to engage in charitable causes. I think it's actually the converse, because once you saved, and maybe after a year or two, when you see your investment paying dividends, you'd be able to help an organization much more in your capacity with the amount you can then donate to them as well, in terms of their empowerment projects. Because if you giving a 50 rand year once a month to an organization, it's a 50 rand they need, but the thing is, if you then multiplied your camel, so to speak, from one camel, you paid 5 camels. From those five, you can gift a substantial amount for a designated organization. So I feel sometimes people say, you're saving for yourself. It's selfish best if you give in charity, you'll gain more. But you're not saying that. You're saying then the value of what you're giving is going to really be a tangible donation towards an empowerment or relief cause. Am I correct in that advice as well?
Absolutely. And I think also it's about those small goals. So, if you sit down with someone like myself, every single person's different. So, your small goal would be I would love to give a charitable organization. I would love to do a borehole. I would like to do. So, there's so many different avenues that you could go through in terms of charity, but all of those avenues cost a certain limit or an amount that you can afford. Remember, what you can afford and what I can afford is completely different. But if we put, specific goals, on those charities or for yourself. So, as an example, would be is that I would like to give 10% of my earnings towards charity, but not all of us get to 10%. So, you might even be able to only afford 1% at one point in your life. So, I think, from an Islamic perspective, it's also your intention. So, if you make the intention and you stick to it from a discipline point of view, you'd be able to attain that goal. So I think the key being is that if you make yourself small goals over a small period of time and you attain those goals, you would then have the more discipline to be able to get to the bigger goals. So, it's like teaching a child to walk. The child first crawls before the child takes the first step. And the next minute, the child wants to run. But if the child's going to run, he or she's probably going to fall. So that's a lesson learned. So, with investing, it's about baby steps to teach you discipline. Once you've disciplined enough to be able to stick to your budget and know that I think most people don't believe they can save. I think that's one of our biggest problems is and especially with women, they've been so reliant on men having to manage their money. No disrespect at all. But, we've been brought up in that environment that, the man's the breadwinner, he goes out, he takes care of the finances. And women have been limiting themselves in that space, that there is people out there that can help them to manage their finances correctly and build a profitable portfolio for yourself, not just for today but for tomorrow. It's also about leaving a legacy. You could get ill during this period, you could not be able to work. So there's so many circumstances that you could put yourself in. I mean, I have many women that had to readapt their businesses as small enterprise during COVID, and they've actually doubled or tripled their revenue just from being home entrepreneurs. So it's also about rethinking how you can take a little bit of money and make more money out of it. I think that's the key.
I'm sitting here, and you know what? When I'm talking to you, it's like having a friend, but a friend who's telling you to be wise. Because most of our friends will tell us, uh, this isn't sale here, or did you see that outfit in this mall? Let's meet up and do that. Okay, now COVID, so that has come to an end, but now we're sending messages about what deal we found online, and I bought this and it was great. So you buy this, but you're that good friend because you saying, don't go and buy that dress now, you have enough in the closet. Rather take that money, invest it, and in 3 years' time, you can fly to wherever and have a memorable vacation. And then you can buy 20 such dresses and you're going to get a holiday out of it. So you just say now, delay your gratification because you can get a whole lot more instead of instant gratification now. So you're a good friend to have, Sister Nasira. And it's so comfortable. In all the while we're speaking, I like what you said. You said it's on the individual goal. So my goal will be different to my producer Dudu's goal or Shazia's goal or something. So everybody's goals. So you sit down with us. You'll probably check what our spending habits. How do we spend? What is important to us in terms of what our purchases, what our like you say, small, medium term goals, immediate goals, and long term goals. What we want to do, and you take it through. And also, sometimes you feel savings for somebody who has like 100,000 and wants to increase their portfolio, and you think no, from a little is 2,000 rand. I can help you in terms of the service. No arrogance, because sometimes when we are financial advisors and things like that, you think you have to have lots of money to uh, have a financial advisor who will advise you, and you saying no, and if you can't get to the 2,000, you're still saying keep it in a separate account. When you have that, I will assist you along.
I think it's also about your priorities in life. If you make time for yourself, that's the first step to acknowledgement that, you know what, I need to do this for me. I'll give you a typical example. I had a client of mine, a new client that I was introduced to. She loved buying name branded handbags, right? And I don't have to
Don't
give
we
you a
all? Don't we all?
right? Name brand handbags, and she came straight out, very honestly telling me, I love handbags, and I think of it as an investment because I can sell it at a good price later on, as a pre-loved item. I said, okay, fine, no problem. You're going to have a closet full of 20, 30, or 100 handbags, but if the economy goes down and you need money, can you sell your pre-loved item? Would you be able to get the same amount of money that you were looking for a year ago, 2 years ago? And she couldn't answer it. And, sugar, that we managed to work on her to change her mindset. I said, you can still afford a bag. I'm not saying don't live, because at the end of the day, you don't want to live a life, very prudishly, in the sense of that you only save, 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 and you don't have a life. You don't go on holiday. You don't buy yourself new clothes. You don't go out, with your family and have a good meal. So, you don't buy the Woolies, nice takeouts that you would like, or the groceries. So you've got to live within your means. But what I say is that have little pockets. I have a 50, 30, 20 plan, that I work on when I teach, individuals, that in terms of 50% has to be your commitment to the things that you have to pay no matter what. 30% is the compulsory purchases, like your medical aid, like your pension within your company. And the 20% is where you got room to play, where you've got to pay for certain things, but you can lower those expenses. And that's where the saving comes in of at least 5 or 10% of your income. And the bottom line is that that woman has, for the last 2 years, every single year that she's had a tax refund, before the money even gets to her account, she calls me and she says, listen, I'm not spending this money. It has your name on it. Please take it away from me. I don't want it. I haven't seen it. And that's how we've built up a little, not just a relationship, I'm also relatable. So I'm a mom, I'm a woman. I also like nice things. I know how it is to handle a household. So, you can't get away from, hiding it from me. So, I'm very transparent in that. I'll tell you, I'll say, hey, listen, I know what the specials are. So if you're paying that price, then I don't know where you're shopping, So I think that also plays an important role, is that you got to feel comfortable. Like you said, I'm that other friend, that friend that can help grow your financial wealth. For me, it's about your financial worth, and how much would you like to be worth by yourself, not your husband, not your children, by yourself. What is that worth that you're looking for?
This is such sage advice for me, because, and also the thing is, I'd like to get you on future programs as well, because I feel sometimes, especially nowadays with online businesses, and today on your WhatsApp advertising group, everybody's selling something. So Alhamdulillah, everybody's empowering themselves. So they might not necessarily go out in the workplace and work, but from home, everybody has some sort of retail business they're selling, and Alhamdulillah, people are supporting them. So you're earning an extra income, but it's just sitting in a savings account, because everybody's EFTing here. So you're sitting with a sizable amount of money that's doing nothing, because it's sitting in a savings account. And yes, Alhamdulillah, uh, in the past 5 or 6 or maybe 10 years now, we have good Sharia compliant options that we could take. But sitting in a savings account is basically doing nothing, because in terms of, you have to look at I can see you shaking your head and saying, no, it's sitting there doing nothing. I could assist you and guide you to do so much more in terms of getting returns there, because that's the other thing, is that with your little sideline businesses, and everybody has something they're doing by the sideline. So things like, and then you don't know what to do. It's there in your savings account to use, but maybe you're not using the maximum there, but you're not letting that money work for you. So that's what I'd like to do in coming programs, in terms of the different savings vehicles you have, because it's one thing to encourage people to save, but then when you have money, then you're also being really silly and foolish if you don't maximize in terms of your saving vehicles. And like you say, there's certain saving vehicles that has incentives, that you get tax back in terms of refund, and then you get tax-free savings, because it's quite complicated. But the thing is, that's why you're there to guide us in terms of getting the maximum out of the money we save. Am I correct in this understanding, or it's too simplistic?
Absolutely, 100%. 100%. And I think, a lot of, and I'm not just going to say female because your audience is wide. So a lot of people have this fear. And I think fear holds you back by leaving your money in your bank account. So, shukr alhamdulillah, we are quite fortunate from a Sharia space. I offer a full Sharia financial planning. So be it, whether it's a short-term investment or a long-term investment, and inshallah, we can break it down as the different types of investments that we have out there. But we are quite open to full Sharia investing. So there's, it's not stopping us from, investing out there in terms of tax-free investments or retirement planning or endowment policies. There is opportunity. I think it's just about sitting with the right person that can assist you and give you the right tools in terms of, again, every single person's different. So, what your need may be, it doesn't necessarily mean it would be Dudu's need. So you got to sit down and break down what a person's fears are about their money, and what is their discipline that they would stick to, and how we can then help them make money. I think that's the bottom line, is how can we help you grow that investment instead of it just staying at 100 rand in your bank account. You want to see 1,000 rands. You don't want to see 10,000, you want to see 100,000. And that's the reason why people like us still have jobs, because we are passionate about having to hold your hand and grow your wealth with you.
I like that. Hold my hand and grow my wealth with me. So that's what we're gonna do. And I like doing things on a just spur of the moment to challenge myself, and also to show my listeners that I like to walk my dog, and I do this quite often. So that's what I'm going to do now. Um, I'm going to take you up an offer, and what we're gonna do is I'm gonna meet with you off air. We're going to I'm gonna give you a little amount of Marimia, and we're gonna save it, and you're gonna teach me because I'm really ignorant. I'm knowledgeable on many things, but when it comes to a portfolio vehicle savings, I don't know much about it, right? So you're gonna hold my hand, and I part of it is also to grow my investment, but also to learn about different vehicles and savings there within the Sharia scope, and then maybe to this day next year we're gonna report in terms of, or maybe even just a quarter report to say how that investment is growing percentage wise, as opposed to it just sitting in a savings account. What happened? Um, so that's what we're going to do. And then we can just also do a report back and to say, you know what, I came there, we put X amount, it started growing. And then after a year to say, had I left it just sitting in a savings account, this is what happened. But because I invested it, this is what I could have done. So inshallah, I'd like to do this up here, and then just uh, as an encouragement for my listeners as well to save, because you're never too young to save and you're never too old to start saving. So I feel I fit in the middle, although they all call me Appa. Yeah, I feel like the senior one here, but I don't feel that old, even though they just call I'm the mother here around here. But we're gonna do that. So yes, we are gonna meet. Yeah, but then we're gonna take this here, and the next time I have you, because you generously offered your time and your expertise on a monthly feature. So next month in October, probably we can discuss a few saving vehicles, Sharia compliant options as well, and also in terms of short term. Maybe we'll do short term and medium term, and then next series we can follow on with a long term goal. So looking forward to that. Jazakallah. It's so nice to have somebody there that encourages to save your money, as opposed to have your friends to say, "Come, let's go out there, let's go for coffee," or "Let's." Did you see this? And now I get messages. I bought this. This was really at this online store here. Maybe you should get one. So you, my money saver. I think even all the husbands are gonna like Naseera, because she's saving the money, not spending the money at the end of the day. And then who knows? The sisters will be taking the families on holiday after 2 years for a lovely holiday on mum, and that's I think where memories are made. So then thereafter you have profits that you have grown, that then you can enjoy with your family. So like you said in the beginning, you have to be selfish to be selfless. So that is what I see now what you mean. And inshallah, looking forward to our future conversations, and we will check off it, inshallah, in terms of savings vehicles and how to get savings. Jazakallah so much. It's been an absolute delight and pleasure, Sister Nasirata.
Jazakallah for having me. Look forward to meeting you in person, and look forward to sharing the lessons learned during our meeting.
Inshallah. And this is all to share with my wider audience of listeners. And it's here. We're here to support each other. And that is what essentially humanitarian journalism is all about. It's to support us in our humanity and in our relationships, all relationships, be it our social relationship, even our financial relationships in this case. So, Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That was financial advisor and mentor, Sister Naseera Turkey. And yes, we're going to go on a series of how to save and also to guide you in terms of the different investment vehicles available. And yes, I'm going to conduct my mini experiment, and this is all for myself and for my listeners as well, in terms of what we can do to save for maybe another difficult challenge, that a future challenge that may came about in terms of how we can save for ourselves and then in turn benefit humanity as well. We're going to go for a short break, and then yes, saving for that yearning to visit uh, the holy lands, the blessed lands of Makkah Mukarramah in Medina Munawwara. And this is, we're going to be speaking to Sister Nuri Jatam regarding the press release, Semtawa's press release that was released on the 14th of May. All this after the break.
We can't go overtime today, no?
No, I'm not overtime today.
Because we have a